and kicking things off. I'm very happy that Canada Silver Cobalt Works is kicking things off. They've been a frequent friend of the show. We've been visited by Matt Halliday before. They're doing some amazing work up in the Cobalt camp, which is close to the heart of the Northern Miner Group, because that's where we all started back in 1915. I've had the privilege of going up there. And Matt is being good enough to update us because we've been seeing the progress as we've been going through on this, Matt. So let me give you a little bit of an intro before we do a bit of a deep dive on what Canada Silver Cobalt Works has been up to. Now, Matt Halliday is president and COO. He's also VP of X for the company. He's a professional geologist. He has 15 years of exploration experience in both precious and base metals, including with SGS Geostat on projects around the world. Now, more recently, he's been in the Cobalt camp in the Abitibi area with Kirkland Lake Gold and First Cobalt. He's with those companies before joining Canada Silver Cobalt Works in 2019. Matt, it's wonderful to see you again. How are things with you? How's February treating you so far?
February is treating me very coldly. We have had very cold spells up here in Abitibi. Halliday has been seeing some record lows. It's been crazy, but
wow. I imagine record lows up in that area are pretty low. What is a record low in that area?
I don't think it was, maybe I'm being hyperbole, but I'm sending some hyperbole out there. But we've been having a lot of the negative 30s, and then plus the wind chills getting really low, and it's been a rough slog for the last month or so. But I think we're coming out of it. And
well, I hope so. Spring is around the corner. Minus 30 sends a chill to my bones just hearing about that. And of course, Matt, as you know, we have a global mining audience. We have people tuning in from the southern states, from Africa, from over 80 different countries. So for a lot of those people, it's hard probably for them to even conceptualize or to feel viscerally understand what minus 30 means. But it builds character, right?
Oh, absolutely. It builds character for sure. And, we have a great team, and everything has been continuing to roll right through it. Like, we have drilling has been continuous, and our geologists have been going through this whole time. And we've been keeping our yard clean. And even though the snow has been dumping, everything's going very smoothly.
Excellent. Great to hear. Listen, Matt, I'll turn it over to you, and you can get going and get your deck fired up, and we'll listen attentively.
How many minutes do I have?
Laura, is it 10 minutes?
Yeah, you have about 8 minutes for your presentation, and then Anthony comes back on and you guys can banter again for a bit.
Okay, great. Well, I will do a quick version of my deck today. Here we go. Well, I just really like to focus. I'd like to take some takeaways from what you've been mentioning here. Copper and nickel are in extreme demand, and Canada Silver Cobalt is a company that is being primed to we want to set ourselves up into two companies. So we have our high-grade silver asset in Galganda, and that's going great. And we're continuing to push forward on that. And I'd like to discuss that a little bit. But I'd also like to mention we have a large number of nickel, copper, cobalt properties across Ontario and Quebec, predominantly in Quebec. And we're going to be seeing a lot of news about that coming out in the next couple of months. So our flagship property is the Nercier Graal. We picked up these 15 properties based on some pretty large Bouguer anomalies. These are big gravity anomalies. So we know there's something heavy down in the ground. And then we flew a bunch of geophysical surveys last year. And after those geophysical surveys, we delineated what we think are our best targets. And then Graal, which is in the Lac-Saint-Jean region of Quebec, came up as one of the priority targets. And so we initiated basically an additional amount of land grab. We talked to a couple of local players there. We found a lot of copper nickel showings. We have a strong EM conductor. In fact, we even have a potential target. A potential target is a non-43-101 compliant type of target. We've estimated at 30 to 60 million tons at some pretty interesting grades of copper, nickel, and cobalt. But more importantly than that, our exploration activities has continued, and we've found some new showings, and we've started a drill program slightly to the west of that potential target. And that's where our main focus is at Nercier Graal. We believe we're at the edge of a quite deep VMS style deposit, and we've been hitting massive sulfides in 22 out of 23 drill holes. So the results are shipped off to the lab, or the assays have been all shipped off to the lab, or most of them are being shipped off to the lab as we speak, and we should be getting out some really excellent results. And this kind of solidifies the focus that we have a lot of this battery metal component to the company. We have our Re2Ox process where we want to produce value-added products. So we're not just going to produce a nickel con or a copper con, but we're going to produce right here in the North American corridor, cobalt sulfate, nickel sulfate, copper sulfate that will meet specifications for the EV market. We really want to help build this circular economy. I'm going to jump in a bit into the castle. Basically, as I mentioned, we have the battery metal side, and what we want to do is we want to basically package that up, put it into a vehicle, and eventually get that spun out of the company, simplify our story a little bit, and then Canada Silver Cobalt can focus on being a precious metals company. We have an excellent land package in the areas around Galganda. We have quite a bit of land, and we have the Castle East, which is the world's highest grade silver resource to date at 7.5 million ounces inferred and 250 ounce per ton. And we're really geared up to having a new resource update. So we've been drilling a lot. We've been drilling that resource. Initial resource came out in May 2020, and we've been drilling since then nonstop. And so we have another resource update coming out the end of March, beginning of April this year. And we're really excited to show to the market that we can start building some critical mass to this. We've made it no secret that we want to become the next silver play miner. So we have an environmental baseline study underway. It was started 2021. It should be completed by mid-year. We've started our permitting process. We're moving this into an advanced exploration stage. And we're getting ready to put that ramp down for 2023. We have already a vertically integrated company. We have a mini mill in the town of Cobalt. The mini mill has a cone crusher and a ball mill and a bullion furnace in the basement. And we've proven to be able to produce silver doré bars with that bullion furnace. In 2019, we poured 3 silver bars as a proof of concept. So I'd just like to kind of show to the whole world, this is the cobalt mining camp. We have a large property package in the areas of Galganda. We are in an area that has seen a lot of mining and does see a lot of mining. We're very close to Alamos Gold's Young-Davidson mine. We're not too far away from Agnico's Macassa mine, and we're pretty close to IM Gold's Cote mine. So we're in a great jurisdiction, and we have a lot of potential. So this property that we have the past producing Castle mine. It was one of the last producing silver mines in the area, very high grade. It was high enough grade that they could ship all of their silver from Galganda down to Cobalt and mill it there. And I think that is an excellent asset. We're really moving forward to being able to open up the castle and get back to exploration in the castle. 2 kilometers to the east of the castle, we have our flagship, the Castle East, where again, the resources is growing, and we're going to get that ramp down. And we have a lot of potential ground in between. We're going to become a multi-deposit company, and we're going to have a stream of deposits that'll be ready as we continue going forward. This is what it looks like. Just amazing, beautiful stuff. I really recommend anyone who's visiting the town of Cobalt, please go to the Cobalt Mining Museum. Take a look at some of the silver that comes out of this camp. Basically, it's a solid plug here that I'm showing you of silver and cobalt. Beautiful stuff. I'd like just to talk briefly about what's been happening in some of the recent news releases. So as we're moving towards a resource update, we have, sorry, my slide deck is moving faster than or slower than I am pressing buttons. We have basically started off with our Robinson vein. We moved to the east. We had the 17-meter zone, the big silver zone. We moved to the west. We have the 61A and the B. And a lot of my press releases, or our press releases that have been coming out recently, have been showing these excellent hits that we've been getting on all of these veins. And so as we go to a new resource, we're going to have a lot more veins. And each of these veins still are open in multiple directions. So we are really fortunate that we have a lot of room to grow here at the castle, and I believe that we're going to be growing this deposit for a long time. If I have one more minute, I would just like to show we have picked up some new ground in our EB Auto claim package in Kirkland Lake. We're very close to Agnico's Macassa mine, only 5 kilometers away. We picked up a very large land package, now 1,000 hectares, 5 kilometers of strike length of our deposit. And we have the EB Auto fault splay cutting right through the property with a big alteration zone that cuts through and intersects that. So we're really excited about getting some new geophysics in there, getting some stripping done, and getting a drill turning by the end of the year. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Excellent. Wonderful, Matt. Great to see the progress that you guys have been making, you and your team have been making on this. Really exciting stuff, and Castle's really coming into focus more. Reminder to everyone, we are fully live. That is what's kind of cool about the Northern Miners Global Mining Symposium relative to all the other virtual ones out there. We do this fully live. So you do have a chance to just fire off your questions here, and away we can go. You're in real-time communication with Matt. Matt, I think one of the things is, of course, from an investor point of view, narrow veins, right? You get those crazy high grades, but they can be challenging when it actually comes to mining it, specifically not getting too much grade dilution. I know it's a bit early, but what's the plan? How are you guys going to get around that?
Well, I mean, we are going to use narrow vein mining techniques, but I think that the grade is so high right now, and even our low grade can be diluted quite a bit. So, you know, it's when I show these tens of thousands of grams ton hits, we're looking at, you know, if people want to think about it in a gold sense, we're looking at dozens of ounce per ton gold equivalent. So these hits are extremely high grade. And even when you have a 5,000 or 2,000 gram per ton hit, this is extremely high grade material. So I don't think that dilution is going to be the most insurmountable task here. We have done it in the past, and we're looking into the mining methods that are going to be adequate for doing this in the future.
Okay, great. We have one here from the audience. Are the veins pinched out in Leapfrog Geo, or is the grade continuous based on drilling information?
Okay, so you're looking at the section that I showed. That section was just a 5-meter section cut across the deposit. So, you know, these veins do have some pinch and swell, but for the most part, we're open in both directions, like of north. They're going in northish, southish. And so there is room to continue to grow.
We have another question from the audience. Thank you, audience. While you were showing a map that shows drill and exploration areas, there was a neighboring mine that was visible. Did you test the waste? Is there any tailings or anything there, anything of use that could give you a better picture?
I don't have that neighboring mine in my property portfolio. That is the Capital mine. And so, but we do have the Castle mine, and we have tested the waste at the Castle mine. Could be interesting in the future. We also have waste material still in the Castle mine. And so, you know, we are working at opening up the Castle and getting back down there into the future. It was one of the last producing mines in the camp, and I believe it is unfinished. And as a note, we did proof of concept pour silver bars from the Castle waste material.
Okay, great. Time for one more here from Fernando. Fernando is asking, I like this question actually, Fernando, given everything that's going on with critical metals. He wants to know, is there any other any other metals that are present at even a trace level? I guess we're specifically talking about Castle.
Sure. So we have copper and nickel. And, you know, I am, you know, I don't want to say optimistic, but there is the opportunity to have nickeline veins here in the cobalt mining camp. So that is something that could happen in the future. But we do have low-grade copper and nickel, which maybe can be upgraded through the Retrox process when we upgrade the cobalt. We also have sometimes a bismuth. But I don't think there's any economic bismuth that has ever really came out of the cobalt mining camp to date, but I could be wrong.
Okay, thank you. And, you know, I lied. I'm going to get one more in there because we're getting a lot of nice audience response. They're paying attention, Matt, which is great.
I love it.
This is an interesting one as well. Being a cobalt mine, are you going to explore only using EVs instead of diesel?
Excellent question. I don't think that we are in the position right now to make those specific decisions. We would love to go EV in the future, but most likely the beginnings we will do contract mining and we will see what equipment is available to be utilized. However, it is our intention to continue to grow this company in an ESG fashion.
Excellent. Fantastic, Matt. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. It really is fun to see how the story is progressing and moving along. So kudos to you and the team.
All right. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers, Matt. Stay warm.